Testimonies are a very powerful weapon. They remind us about what God has done for us in the past and prophesy about what He will do for us again in the future. The incident dates back to the year 2011. I had given my life to Jesus in the year 2010. However, I must tell you, I did not do it wholeheartedly. And I remember being taken to church services forcefully. And while I would sit there and listen to the messages that were being preached, I would often get intrigued by the fact that God Himself chose to come to earth as a human, and that too as a carpenter. I would keep wondering why God didn't pick a more profitable and beneficial profession. I was gifted a dog by my friend in the year 2011. I was in class 10 back then. One fine day, I remember my helper had taken my dog for a walk. And after my helper did not return for nearly 1 hour, I began to doubt and went to check on them. When I began to search for my dog and my helper, after much seeking and finding, I finally saw them near the gate. And the scene I saw totally shook me up. I saw my little puppy stuck in a small portion of our gate. She was struggling. The situation got so bad that she was not being able to breathe anymore, and I saw blood gushing into her eyes. Now, I must tell you that we live in a very secluded area where there weren't many shops back in the year 2011. There were no carpenters nearby. This required help from an expert. After not knowing what to do and after entering into a panic, I called my sister, whose faith was growing by leaps and bounds. I called her and explained the entire situation to her, and the only thing she told me was, pray. And that suggestion seemed so impractical to me at that point. I got so mad at her and I just hung up. I called up my sister again in panic, and she yet again gave me the same response, pray. After I realized that the situation had gotten out of my hand, I just closed my eyes and did what my sister asked me to do. Now let me tell you that I didn't really know how to pray back then. I didn't know what were the right words. I didn't know any right way to pray. So I just said what I knew best back then, and that was simple. I said, Jesus, if you are real, save my dog today, and I will worship you with all my heart for the rest of my life. Our Father is very sweet, and He knows us in and out, and He meets us at the point of our need. After I said that prayer in my own way, suddenly out of nowhere, in a locality, like I mentioned earlier, where there are no carpenters, suddenly I see a man walking with a saw. I don't see his face. I just see his attire, which looked like a woolen wraparound, and I saw he was wearing slippers. The man came to the other side of the gate. I couldn't see his face because of how tall our gate is. But the man came in like a professional, as though he came to my locality at that right time to just save my dog. And this carpenter, like a pro, with finesse, cut the grill, pushed my puppy out of the gate, and gave her to me, without even saying a word. I was thrilled and overwhelmed. And like any other human being would, I rushed to go and thank the man and thought of giving him a cup of tea. But when I ran out to go and thank him, there was no one there. And that was the day I realized that I matter to God. My desires matter to heaven. Jesus came to earth, yes, for everyone, but He also came specifically for me, specifically for you. In the Bible, we see Jesus meets each person differently. He met Zacchaeus over dinner. He explained God's love to Peter through fish. He encountered Paul differently. Jesus met each person differently, depending on their personality type. And And Jesus very well knew the kind of person I am. And that is why he met me the way he did. And that was the incident that changed my life. So I just want to invite you today, if you're listening to this or if you're watching this, if you have had a time when God intervened and met you at the point of your need, go back to that time and remind yourself about how good God has always been to you. And remind yourself that God is going to be good to you today, tomorrow, and for forever.